bench.
Tonight at 8 p.m., you can watch Luka and the Mavericks take on Jason Tatum and the Celtics. And then after that, in a doubleheader, Russell and the Thunder go up against Dame Lillard and the Blazers. And then on Saturday night at 8 p.m., Zion and Duke take on Clemson.
Stop trying for Zion.
And tonight at 6 p.m. on SportsCenter, they'll be reacting to James Harden's wizardry in the Bay. They'll predict what's going to happen in the wild card and much, much more. That's 6 p.m. on SportsCenter. Right now, you are tuned in to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. Thank you so much for joining us. Jalen Rose, last night, it wasn't just James Harden taking down the Warriors. There was another big game in the NBA when the Toronto Raptors went to San Antonio and Kawhi Leonard made his return to Texas. And the fans, well, they weren't exactly too nice about it. Kawhi was booed. They chanted traitor at him. What do you think about the way that the fans treated Kawhi Leonard?
I'm not surprised. It comes with the territory as a professional athlete, and for players, as the Podfather taught us, that exercise their pre-agency, like Kawhi decided to do when he felt like he was misdiagnosed by the San Antonio Spurs, which ultimately led to him only competing in 9 basketball games. And all of a sudden, the team was talking about him coming back to play when he didn't come back to play. And people questioned, was he actually healthy enough to play? And then individuals like myself who went on First Take in January of that year and let the world know that there was going to be a fracture that took place in that relationship that would take place throughout the season. So this had a lot of buildup. And so for it almost to be a year or so later, I am not surprised by the reaction of the fans. But here's something that I want to make sure that I acknowledge. The guy that got booed, Kawhi Leonard, while they got thumped, actually played well, efficient from the floor. The guy that they cheered, and Danny Green, was 0 for 7 and 0 for 6 from 3. So it continued to allow me to know that as competitors, just because you're being cheered or booed, that doesn't always mean that the result is going to be positive.
That's a really good point. I really do believe that Danny Green is often overlooked as being a part of this trade. And also, as people always talk about Kawhi's return to San Antonio, Danny Green also returned to San Antonio. Obviously, the way that they both departed from the franchise was very different. But Danny Green is often overlooked as a piece of this trade and also one of the reasons that the Raptors are playing so well. Well, LeBron James has been sidelined for the Lakers with a groin injury of late. However, he is also appearing on ESPN Plus in a docuseries about him and his childhood friends and their rise to becoming media moguls. It's called More Than an Athlete. And while he was sitting with these close friends of his, he got very comfortable and he said something that made a lot of headlines. Let's listen.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For so many reasons.
I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years of everything in sports going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
Jalen Rose, we've been away on break for a little bit. I've been dying to hear what you think about this. LeBron James claiming that he is the greatest of all time because he brought Cleveland a championship over the Warriors. What do you think about LeBron saying this?
It's a phenomenal feat what the Cleveland Cavaliers were able to accomplish that season in beating a 73-win Golden State Warriors team. If that doesn't happen, probably changes the trajectory of what we see that has taken place over the last 2 years, because I don't think Kevin Durant joins that team. And so, however, your single greatest achievement doesn't make you the greatest basketball player of all time. Now, what ends up happening is, and LeBron James is genius at doing this, he's creating a narrative of recency bias. It's almost like if you ask millennials right now, who's the greatest rap group of all time?
Migos.
You're going to get a lot of people saying the Migos, because they haven't been necessarily exposed to Wu-Tang Clan, Outkast, NWA, Tribe Called Quest. So LeBron James understands when he says this, it allows the fans to quietly leapfrog him over Tim Duncan and Kobe. I gave him credit for passing Larry Bird as the greatest small forward of all time when that feat happened, which was a tall task for me. But my Mount Rushmore is pretty much still intact. MJ, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 6 championships, 6 MVPs, the NBA's all-time leading scorer. Bill Russell, 11 championships in 13 years. And Irvin Magic Johnson, 5 championships. That's my Mount Rushmore. To me, LeBron's individual achievements have not eclipsed what those gentlemen have accomplished in NBA lore.
Well, Wilt Chamberlain is a big fan of the show, and he's very upset with you right now, Mr. Rose. Very upset with you. Well, someone else who didn't really like this was Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge, who's usually pretty quiet, doesn't really stir things up in the media that much. He said that LeBron, by saying this, was taking the, quote, Donald Trump approach and was really selling himself. Kind of, as you said, sort of trying to control the narrative. Well, do you think that LeBron is being manipulative through the media by trying to sort of push that he's the greatest of all time?
I think that's actually well said, because if you look back at the election, a lot of people didn't feel that Donald Trump would actually win, and he did. And for LeBron, that's the exact same thing. If you leapfrog everybody that I just mentioned and you only talk about yourself eye to eye with Michael Jordan, you now create that narrative of people discussing which one of those two were the best and ignoring everybody else I just said that deserves to be in that conversation.
That's a really good point. While LeBron James continues to call himself the greatest of all time, the fans have voted LeBron James as the #1 vote getter in the NBA. The first results of the fan voting for the All-Star are in, and they're very interesting. Jalen Rose, we have Derrick Rose and Luka Doncic getting more votes than Kevin Durant. I know that you're not a big fan of fan voting. How do you think they should change this, and what does this tell you? Oh, no. We lost Jalen.
Can I teach everyone a distinction?
Okay.
Because I know that the fans, the coaches, and the players and the media get a chance to contribute to this voting. And I know that this has been modified over the years. But let me just make this clear. And we've seen the fan voting go wrong when a guy like Allen Iverson is a reserve for the Detroit Pistons but starts in the All-Star game. Or when Yao Ming plays in only a handful of games and starts in the All-Star game. So there's so many cases of this. But let me teach the world something. As these next few weeks happen, please stop saying that this is a popularity contest. It is not. A popularity contest is like an election when you only get one vote. If you can vote more than one time, that's not a popularity contest. When I'm playing in the league and I'm seeing players and their assistants and their foundations and people that work for them leaving the practice facility and carrying thousands and thousands of ballots so that they can make sure that they get filled out, that is not a popularity contest.
Jalen Rose, still salty that he never made the All-Star game. You should have been in at least 2 of them. At least 2 of them you should have been in. You definitely should have been in 2 of them. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby, me, Jalen, and Method Man will keep it moving. It's right after this.
Action required.
Coming to you live from Lower Manhattan Seaport District, right here on Pier 17, and brought to you by Chase. It is Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, not everything is worth discussing in the world of sports and pop culture, so we have a segment called Keep It Moving. You know how this works. If you want to discuss the topic, you say hit the brakes. If not, me, you, and Method Man hop in the minivan and keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Let's get it.
There was a hold me back moment, not between players, but between a coach and a ref. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Definitely hit the brakes.
All right, we have the coach of Samford University, Scott Padgett, and here's what he had to say about an incident that happened between him and a referee.
I wasn't coming to nothing. I literally said, "Are you stepping to me right now?" I mean, that's what I said. I mean, like that's what I think's hilarious is in the world it's not a real world out there because a guy like that stepping to me is not realistic. I mean, if we're out on the street, he's running the other way just if he sees me walking by. You know, like, not that this ain't a threat. I mean, it's just I'm 6'9", probably 280 right now. Not a lot of people step to me.
Jalen Rose, you were once 280. Do people step to you?
Oh, I loved it for so many reasons. A couple of things. If I'm not mistaken, I recall playing against Scott Padgett at Kansas, or worst case in the league. And so a couple of things that came out in this conversation that I want to make sure I unpack.
Okay,
One,
please do.
he's totally right about the size. That's why they create weight classes. So I agree with him on that. As far as the ref that's half of his size probably wouldn't knowingly step to him unless he was inebriated or something. Now, the flip side of that, for anybody that's ever been involved in a physical altercation and or a fight, hey, Scott, they're not fair. Usually when you're bigger than the guy, that means he knows that. So therefore, they're coming with something else as well. Maybe a bottle or something that they can use as a prop. So just be careful of saying things like that. But all in all, I thought it was a funny moment.
It is a funny moment. I like the fact he's like, is this guy stepping to me right now? I love this stuff. You know, I'm a big Sanford University fan all of a sudden. I'm a big shout to Scott Padgett.
No
Moving
doubt.
on.
No question.
UConn has finally lost a game. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Every 5 or 6 years, this is actually going to happen. Keep it moving.
We keep it moving.
All right.
We keep it moving.
Thank you, Method Man. Next, an NBA team is talking about trading their best player. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Oh, hit the brakes. No doubt about it.
Well, Larry Drew, the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do you remember the Cleveland Cavaliers, their team in the NBA? They were in the finals for the past 4 years, and now they just kind of disappeared. Well, he was asked about the possibility of trading Kevin Love, and he said, quote, anybody can be traded. Jalen, I find this pretty interesting considering they just signed him to an extension. Do you think that it's realistic he could be moved? And if he is moved, where do you think he would go?
I think it's realistic for him to be moved because the Cleveland Cavaliers are in tank mode. Has anybody seen J.R. Smith? Oh, when you watch their box scores, notice that the vets' minutes are down. They traded George Hill. And obviously, this is why Kyrie Irving wanted to control his own destiny. Because now he and or Kevin Love would be guys that the Cavs would be looking to trade so they can stop trying for Zion.
If our friend the Podfather has said that if the Cleveland Cavaliers get the #1 pick again, he will stop covering sports. I'm kind of rooting for that to happen. Is that mean?
Well, he can come work on our show. This ain't considered work.
We're not covering sports. We just sit around and talk about them.
We use the word sports to talk about lifestyle and pop culture.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, shout to the Podfather. And shout to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I really hope they get that #1 pick. Next, Dexter Lawrence will not be playing in the national championship game for the Clemson Tigers. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
This is unfortunate because he seemed to be confused and dumbfounded by what he's getting suspended for. So keep it moving.
Jalen moving up. Jacoby moving. You know we keep it moving up.
Alabama is going to lose the national championship game, and I have the reason why. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Well, it seems like Alabama is unstoppable. The undefeated team has just gone through every opponent that's been put in front of them with ease. However, there is one man that can change that. There's one man that can make Alabama lose this big game, and that man's name is Aubrey Drake Graham.
Deshaun Watson.
He was seen wearing an Alabama sweatshirt. As you know, like me, he's a Die Easy fan and he's a front-running fan, but some of the teams that he picks and supports lose big games. Could the Drake curse be the downfall of the Alabama Crimson Tide?
I don't think so. I don't endure that a curse exists because the team that he roots for, the Toronto Raptors, he's done an amazing job of being an ambassador of that squad.
How'd
they were the #1 seed last year. They have the best record or one of the best records in the league this year. And I'm not going to turn it to the media hack that acts like your season was a failure if you don't win a championship. In Alabama's case, it would be, and I still believe, unless Deshaun Watson is going to return, by the way, their quarterback this year is terrific, they would have a better chance to win. I still pick Bama to win it all.
Yeah, Bama is absolutely positively going to win this game, but Drake would be the only thing that could stop them would be the Drake curse. I think that's the only thing that could possibly stop them is the Drake curse. I mean, look at these teams. This is the teams that he supports. He supports Kentucky. Oh, look at that. They haven't won since 2012. He supports the Raptors. They lose in the finals they lose in the playoffs every single year. Conor McGregor. Oh, yeah. He was with Drake. What happened? He got beat up by Khabib, and then Alabama football. The only thing that can stop Alabama is the Drake.
I don't know if that's fair to him, because I've seen him at games in Golden State. I've seen him at games in the Staples Center. He's gone to games with the Kings. So I don't know if that's a true graphic that does great representation of who he actually is a fan of versus him being at the game.
Okay, Jalen. Bull is out for the season. Sad news from Oregon. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
He's going to be a lottery pick. Let's keep it moving for now.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Kawhi Leonard had a very fervent supporter in San Antonio. There was someone who was on his side. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
You got to hit the brakes, no doubt about it.
I love this story. Amongst all of that, chanting traitor at Kawhi Leonard and booing him every time he touched the ball, Kawhi Leonard's mom got into it with another fan. That is Kawhi Leonard's mom getting into it with another fan in San Antonio. Jalen Rose, has the great, the legendary Jeannie Rose ever done something like this for you at a basketball game?
She 1,000% would do something like this. The woman who brought a name and introduced it to the lexicon that you can't have the remote control in your hand, and regardless if it's sports or politics, and not hear a variation of the term, the word Jalen. She created it from birth, and absolutely she's been in hostile environments with the roles on her back, and she definitely would represent just like that to the fullest.
Jalen Rose, yesterday on the program, I revealed some personal information about my hygiene habits, and it was very controversial. It has been blowing up my mentions on Twitter. We're getting tons of voicemails about it. I will share that with you right after this. What do players have to bring to an arena before a game?
Basically on the road, you just need your toiletries. Other than that, just your clothes and your game. That's it.
What's in the toiletry bag, though? Like, why do you need toiletries? When I go to the gym, I don't bring, like, deodorant and cologne.
You just said it. Because you need to start wearing deodorant and cologne. And probably consider brushing your teeth after you run up and down the court.
Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. Jalen Rose, you had some well-earned time off over the holiday break. I really hope you enjoyed your time with your lovely wife, Molly Karam Rose. And we had the opportunity and the honor to having some guest hosts in. And yesterday, we had the great Marcus Spears on the show. And there was a moment during the podcast exclusive content that has caused quite a controversy. People are still tweeting me about this. People are upset about it. People have reached out to me about it. People are leaving us voicemails about it. And right now, I want to share it with you. Let's listen.
Do you change your underwear every single day?
I played a rec league basketball game last night. Of course, I changed my drawers after the game.
You showered, though.
No showering after the game. No showering before work. Oh, Marcus is leaving. Marcus is leaving now. Put some deodorant on. You know, I put some. Marcus is gone. We lost Marcus. It was good. This has been a problem for me. Okay. I don't lie in the microphones. I tell the truth. Do I shower every day? Yes, I shower every day. But I happen to shower in the afternoon after I work out. I then played a rec league basketball game, and I changed all my clothes, changed my socks, changed my drawers, and changed everything. I had to wake up early to take care of my kids, and then come straight to work because I have to prepare for this program. I just went a a 14-hour period without showering, and now all of a sudden everyone's very upset with me. Jalen Rose, do you think I have bad hygiene habits?
We've had this conversation before. Jacoby, that represents bad hygiene, fam. Let me tell you why. You smell like sweet funk when you put on new clothes after you've been working out. First off, in particular, underclothes. Next, if you played basketball, you should shower after. Or worst case scenario, shower before you go to bed. Or last case scenario, you got to shower when you wake up in the morning because you left off something that I want to add to the story that also took place during that 14 hours.
Uh-oh.
How you got to work. Sometimes you jog. Sometimes you ride the bike. And usually people that do those two activities are also sweating. This is what he does before he gets to work. So no wonder why he sits at a cube on the end and barely has people that walk by. It makes sense now. It's no wonder why it's flies at the end of the hallway where you sit.
Jalen Rose, this is blasphemous. I am not a smelly person. I do not have poor hygiene. I shower every single day. And you know what? I'm honest. When I sit here in this studio, I just tell people the truth. And the truth was because after the game, there's no opportunity to shower at the school that I played basketball at. I wanted to watch the Lakers against the Thunder, so I stayed up late for that and I fell asleep. And in the morning, I've got kids crawling all over me. I shower appropriate amount. I shower once a day. I brush my teeth. I wear deodorant. I will not allow this to happen. I won't. I'm going to let you get away with it.
Just like you plan to play basketball and plan for the show and plan to go to work and plan meals, you have to plan to shower. That has to be a part of the schedule. If you didn't shower right after you hooped, you definitely should have showered in the morning before you came to work. If that does not take place, that classifies itself as poor hygiene, sir.
I showered this morning because I knew that this was going to come up. So I definitely showered this morning. It was nice. Moving on. They have announced the Coachella lineup. I've never been to Coachella. You know I don't like live music. Jalen Rose went to Coachella once. And the headliners are the following. Ariana Grande. Okay, I've heard of that person. Childish Gambino. Okay, shout out to Donald Glover. Very talented player or person. And then we have Tame Impala. Jalen, be honest into the microphone. Have you ever heard of Tame Impala?
I've heard of the name, but I can't recall a song.
Are you lying?
I've heard of that term because
lying?
It has Impala in the title. No, I've heard of the term. I've heard of the artist, but I can't recall any of the artist's records.
Yeah, Jalen, I think you're talking about a Chevy Impala. Or a Tame Impala sounds like something that you would like see on the plains when you're on a safari. I've never heard of Tame Impala. No shots at Tame Impala. This just proves once again just how washed I am when it comes to today's youth and music. Right now, it is time for Jalen of the Week. The Jalen of the Week this week is Jalen Smith of Maryland men's basketball, what is happening? Who won a game for the Maryland team. That is the Jalen of the Week. Here, we'll see it. The big bucket for Jalen Smith of Maryland. Jalen, how do you feel about this Jalen of the Week? And how do you feel about the fact that we're very bad at naming a Jalen of the Week every week because we don't really keep up with this segment?
Way to represent the name at Maryland with the runner and or the floater. I remember back in the day when I was shooting that, people felt like it was a bad shot. Now I can't watch football, can't watch basketball, can't watch TV without hearing the name that my mother, Jeannie, created, which is a combination of my biological father, James, and my uncle Leonard. She combined the two names. Now the name Jalen is a part of the lexicon. So shout
I
to
want
the
you to do the whole
University
show
of
like
Maryland,
that next time.
and
Will you
big
please
shout
do the whole show like that on
to the
Monday?
Jalen of the
We'll
Week.
be back on Monday. Everyone enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. See you then.